Hello investors, welcome to Simply Stocks. In our previous video, we discussed 6 good small cap businesses which posted strong Q2 results. The earning season has just begun. Companies are continuously releasing their September quarter or Q2 results. So today, in the second video of our Q2 FY26 results series, we will be discussing 4 new small cap businesses whose results have been quite good. These businesses are from different sectors. We will understand the business model of these companies, look at their results, and at the same time, we'll try to find out what their future looks like. But remember, this video is in no way a buy or sell recommendation on these businesses. You must keep this in mind. With that, let's begin. The first business we'll study today is EPAC Prefab. EPAC got recently listed and the results have been quite good. EPAC is in the business of manufacturing prefabricated buildings or PFBs. These PFBs are buildings only that are made of steel instead of concrete. There is a steel building frame or structure on which later the roof and surrounding walls are then installed. PFBs are prepared in the factory and then assembled and erected at the client site. Generally, PFBs are also called pre-engineered buildings or PEBs. But the slight difference is that PEBs are custom designed according to the client. PFBs are generic, standardized, where you can use various materials. For example, the T3 terminal of Delhi Airport is pre-engineered. Similarly, hospitals, manufacturing plants, logistics parks, data centers can also be pre-engineered. The cost of manufacturing them is lower than ordinary concrete buildings. Also, they get completed faster compared to concrete buildings. Currently, PFBs are a niche sector with a size of 46,500 to 48,500 crores, which is growing at a rate of 9 to 11% CAGR. PEBs is a sub-segment within this. EPAC has a PEB capacity of 1,33,922 MTPA and they have sandwich panel capacity of 13,10,000 square meter, which has recently gone live. Sandwich panels are insulated panels that are used for wall and roofing. They are currently operating at 69% capacity utilization in prefab and 33% in sandwich panels. Besides this, there will be capacity addition in Rajasthan and Andhra Pradesh, for which they are currently doing a capex of 160 crores. So we have good visibility for future growth as well. They have rapidly increased their production and capacity utilization. In Q2, meaning the months from July to September, their sales have grown by 62% over last year. Sales growth in Q1 was around 10%. So the average H1 sales growth has averaged to 35 to 36%. And then management has guided for this same 35 to 36% sales growth for the entire year ahead. Profit in Q2 has doubled from last year. And if we look at it as per H1, good 64% growth has been observed here too. Here, we can quickly do the valuation of EPAC. You will see that their net profit from H1 or the months from April to September has been 46 crore. And what happens in this sector is that 45% of the business comes in H1 and 55% of the business is in H2. The simple reason for this is that monsoons fall in H1, so construction activity remains a bit slow at that time. Anyway, if the net profit in the first half has been 46 crore, so we can assume a net profit of 100 crores for the full financial year. When I was studying all this, the company's market cap was 2,700 crore. So 2,700 divided by 100 crore, the 1 year forward PE of EPAC comes out to just 27. So you see how you are getting a business growing at a rate of 30 to 35% at a PE of just 27. Until now, in our Simply Stocks community, we have been tracking two PEB players, Pennar and Interarc. But EPAC's numbers are very good. Their growth guidance is also higher than both of them, which in many ways makes EPAC a good business that you can study yourself once. The next business we'll study is Elia Commodities. Elia is a microcap SME company and it is in the cashew processing business. They import raw cashews, which are called RCN or raw cashew nuts. They import RCN from Africa, process them and then supply and sell it to all other companies. They had a unit with a capacity of 40 metric tons per day and now they have added another line of 100 metric tons. So the total manufacturing capacity has more than tripled to 140 metric tons per day now. If we talk about their customers, they supply their products to the likes of Britannia, ITC, Haldirams and even Family, Japsons and Zoff, which are very famous brands in the dry fruit segment. Now what happened in Elia's case was that the new 100 tons capacity was supposed to start in H2 last year. but there was a delay in starting that line. Besides this, the prices of raw materials has increased last year. Due to these reasons, there was pressure on margins and the company went into losses. Since then, Elia has made a very good recovery in H1. Since this is an SME business, the results do not come on a quarterly basis but for 6 months at once. You will see in the screenshot that their sales have increased by 98% over last year to reach 174 crore, or almost double, so to speak. Due to the new capacity, the margins have slightly reduced, which is why the profit growth has been lower than the sales growth at 56%. Overall, these results are good. Sales have reached 174 crore in H1, so I believe they can easily bring 200 to 225 crore sales in H2. And then their full year sales can be around 400 crores. Similarly, if the profit during half year has been 9 crore, then roughly they can earn a profit of 20 to 25 crore for the whole year. So if we take the bull case of 25 crore, the forward PE comes out to be 17. And in the bear case of 20 crore PAT, the forward PE comes out to 22. So Elia is a good fast growing business that you can study yourself. The risk here you have to look out for is that since this is a commodity business, margins can be volatile. This is entirely a distribution play. On one hand, they are bringing in new capacity, and on the other hand, they are focusing on increasing customers. So you have to look at this business from the same perspective. In such models, you just have to follow the growth and not get attached to the company. Now, before we move on to the third stock, a humble request. If you're liking this video so far, do give me a thumbs up. Also, you can subscribe to our channel Simply Stocks, where we bring multiple such videos every week. Honestly, your likes and subscribes are our only motivation so that we keep bringing such high quality research to you for free. So, do like this video and subscribe to our channel as well. Coming back to our discussion, the third business that has delivered great results is DCB Bank. DCB is a small cap bank. Its market cap is only 5,000 crores, so it is growing quite fast on a small base. Its major presence is in Maharashtra, Odisha and Gujarat. They have advances or total loan book of 52,900 crore. It is the money that DCB has given out as loans, and these advances have grown by 19% compared to the last year. India's credit growth is currently at 10 to 11%, so we can say that DCB is growing at double the rate of the sector. Within this, their mortgage loans, meaning loans taken by mortgaging a house or land, have seen 16% growth. The co-lending portfolio has grown by 140%. In co-lending, you give a loan for a large project along with other banks or NBFCs. Similarly, gold loans and construction finance have seen 25% growth each. It is not written here, but their deposits, meaning the money that you or we deposit in the bank, that number has also increased by 19% over last year. These are the two pillars of any bank. The bank takes deposits from people on one side and gives loans on the other. The margin in between is the earning of a bank. Let's look at the asset quality now. DCB's fundamentals are strong. Gross NPAs have decreased from 3.3% to 2.9%, meaning bad loans have reduced. Net NPAs have remained stable around 1.2%. Slippages had increased slightly last quarter. Here you will see that the fresh slippage ratio had suddenly increased to 4.6%. Slippages in a way become your future NPAs or bad loans, but that has been normalized again. The management also commented on this previously, saying that these slippages are from their smaller businesses segments and not the core portfolio. And for this, they had already made provisions conservatively. In this direction, you will see that the credit cost, which had increased to 0.59%, has returned to previous levels. Slippage ratio and credit cost are two metrics that tell us in which direction the fundamentals are moving. So overall, DCB Bank is growing in a good direction. There was a management change here. Since the arrival of the new CEO, Praveen Kutty, the bank has been in a good shape. He has been working towards improving the bank on several parameters. Apart from growth, his focus has especially been on making the bank efficient by reducing costs. Here you will see that the cost to average assets and cost to income ratio have been decreasing. And it is not written here, but you will be surprised to know that they have reduced 11,118 employees in 1 year, which amounts to approximately a 9.4% reduction in the workforce. Furthermore, their target is to double their balance sheet in the next 3 to 3.5 years, which amounts to 22% annual growth. Profit growth was not strong this quarter because the RBI had cut interest rates. What happens during rate cut is that the benefit is passed on to the customer immediately, but it takes some time at the bank or NBFC level to reset rates. So margins come under pressure in the short term. Now, if there are no further rate cuts, we will see growth in the bottom line here as well. And as I mentioned, DCB has a small base. The market cap is only 5,000 crore. And if everything goes well, their return ratios will also go up. It is currently trading at a PB ratio of 0.8. From a valuation perspective, it is quite undervalued. Furthermore, growth is also there. So, this is also a good small cap banking business that you can keep on your radar. The fourth and final business we study is PVR Inox. PVR has delivered good results after a long time. You would know that PVR Inox operates movie theaters. The performance of films being released plays a huge role in this business. Movie theaters are asset heavy businesses, meaning whether blockbuster movies like Jawan or Avengers come out or super flop movies come, PVR has to pay the same amount as rent for the halls, salaries. Similarly, the cost of running the AC in such large halls stays the same. That means the operating expense or the cost of running the movie hall is very high. In such a situation, if the box office collection is good, PVR also earns good profit. If films are not doing well, PVR can also go into losses. In this direction, you will see that so many movies belonging to the 100 crore plus club has come out. 2 years ago in Q2 FY24, 9 movies had box office collection of more than 100 crore. Last year, there were only 5 such movies. This year, 12 super hit movies got released in the 3 months from July to September. Sayara, Mahavatar Narsimha and Coolie, all 3 had collections about 300 plus crore in India. Additionally, this year, region-wise, meaning in Tamil, Telugu, Malayalam and Kannada, separate hits have also been seen. The management also talked about this in the con call that earlier the dependency on superstars, that is the 3 famous Khans, was quite high for super hits. But now a shift is coming where good content and storyline are also attracting the audience. Alongside this, the regional content pipeline is also doing very well. In this direction, you will see that movie ticket sales have increased by 17.4% YOY in Q2. Food and beverages sales have increased by 12.4% and advertisement income, meaning the ads you see before the movie starts and during the break, that income has grown by 15%. Combined, the total sales of PVR Inox have increased by 12.3%. And because of this performance, last year where PVR Inox had a loss of 12 crore, this year it has delivered a net profit of 106 crore. The Ind AS 116 adjusted net profit was 127 crore. Ind AS 116 is for leases. Applying this accounting standard makes your net profit look lower in the initial years. Whether you take the number of 106 crore or 126 crore, it does not make a difference. Our key learning here is that the good performance on the box office had a big positive impact on the business. And after Q2, the content pipeline for Q3 is also very strong. Rishabh Shetty's Kantara 2, which was released on October 2nd, has collected over 800 crores so far. Thama's collection has been around 70 crore. Besides these, Mohanlal's Rushaba, the second part of De De Pyar De, Dhanush and Kriti Sanon's Tere Ishq Mein, and a multicast movie featuring Ranveer Singh, Sanjay Dutt and R. Madhavan, Dhurandhar, they are all planned in this Q3. So Q3 will likely go well. There is a lot of visibility. If good releases also come in January to March, then PVR Inox can be a good opportunity for the short term. If you are interested in this sector, you can study it yourself. Now look, the earnings season has just begun and we have already brought for you 10 good small businesses so far. If you want part 3 of this series, meaning if you want us to bring more such 4 to 6 unique businesses with good results in the next video as well, then comment part 3. Also, if you like this video, do give me a thumbs up. Also, you can subscribe to our channel Simply Stocks. Your likes and subscribes are the only motivation for us to keep bringing such high quality videos for free every week. So please like this video and subscribe to our channel Simply Stocks. We'll meet you in the next video. Happy investing.